what call this, the globally and ASEAN region. Now, Malaysia, you look at among the 10 ASEAN countries in Malaysia, the number of patents filed in the ASEAN region, I'm very happy to say that Malaysia ranks as top 3 there, okay? Top 3 after Philippines and also in Thailand, okay? The rest are catching up very fast, okay? In terms of global, well, as you can see, what I mentioned just now, 90% of the applications filed in Malaysia are for foreign companies, okay? Only 10% local. Why the foreign people are filing a patent down here? Because they have a big market down here, especially the pharmaceutical company. Okay, they have a very big market down here. And also in terms of electrical and electronic product, they have a very big market down here. Matsushita filed plenty of patents down here, so is Toshiba. Recently, we had a big Korean company, LG, on filed a lot of patents down here. You look to the statistics, you do a research on the number of patents filed by LG is increasing every day. You're going to catch up very soon with Matsushita. In fact, Korean companies are doing very well now compared to being talked in terms of the Japanese company. Okay. About Malaysian filing overseas, if you look at Malaysian filing overseas, not many. I would say not many. Statistics actually shown that only less than 1% of the number of people filing out 1,002 filing down here, less than 1% or 2% we file overseas. Again, the reason is because of cost. It's very expensive, okay? So they cannot afford to file in overseas country. Unless you are very sure that your invention is 100% very good and they can be bringing a lot of money, then you will not think about filing overseas and putting in $500,000 or 1 million ringgit just to file a thing and get your thing, certificate hanging around your wall everywhere, okay? That would be not a good idea, okay?
All right, thank you, Mr. Yes, this gentleman.
My name is Cheng Yu from City University College. I'd just like to go back to one of the speakers before me, or questioner, and I want to basically come a bit from a different angle. I think he was saying something about research. Other than research for commercialization, can there be any other type of research? Because research can be research for its own sake, and we should not devalue that. So what I'm trying to say is, to what extent should research and development be guided by the prospects of it being commercialized? Don't get me wrong, I'm not against commercialization. I like my television, I like my DVDs, I'm against certain types of commercialization where it is at the expense of the majority of the people. And you know, it fattens the pockets of the people who actually build the thing or invent it. I believe knowledge is social. So why can't research and development, the products and the findings be social? So, and can I ask a sub-question to that? Is, so far we've been talking about developments and research from the hard sciences. What about the social sciences? Can that be, to what extent can it be commercialized? And how, but basically my question is, how can it be commercialized for, and not at the expense of anybody, but to benefit everybody? That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe the correct panelist is the major.
Okay, my experience, I have 14 PhD students currently studying in 4 universities. And the methodology basically of the student, when they want to do research, they will do the literature review and they will identify the gap. And what is the research gap? Is basically what is lacked by other researchers. And so they are trying to fill the gap by doing this PhD research, okay? His or her PhD research. And so, and I have always criticized my student, as long as you use that methodology, then you are just moving one step. What we need is a leapfrog. Basically, we need to change our paradigm. And hence, I have introduced them the concept of creative research, basically. Looking at research from the creative perspective. And in this, they need to jump out of the box and create something new, something that is so fundamental that it has no value right now. There's no value right now. But of course, it is very difficult to convince students to do such a research because they say that I don't think I will get my PhD. And this is the dilemma, of course. I mean, of course, with academician, the same thing. I mean, they apply for research grant, they get 3,000 ringgit grant. And how do you expect them to do a fundamental research with 3,000 ringgit? So they will also look at the gap and do research to fill the gap. So if we really want to do fundamental research, then it must be organized, institutionally organized with 2-3 million research funding and looking at the other side of the paradigm. Then we can talk about fundamental research. But having said that, I think when we started the research, we will never even think of the commercialization prospect. We are doing research for the sake of expanding knowledge. That's it. But after that, after the research is been published, then at that point, we say that rather than leaving it as an academic article, let's try and explore the possibility of innovating, expanding it to become of commercial value. I think that's the essence.
If I may just add on, I may be able to answer the science part, not the social science part, your sub-question. When we say commercialization, when a technology is developed, I mean, you said you like your DVD. When the technology for DVD was developed, somebody has to pay for the manufacturing it. And so that's what commercialization is. Somebody doesn't take on this technology and mass produce it at the cost. The technology is not going to be available to everybody. So this is how technology is commercialized, and it is useful to all of us. The development of a DVD, which comes from intensive R&D, which is commercialized. Yeah? And I'll take another example. The auto rain sensors you have in luxury cars, when it rains, the wiper just comes on. The fundamental technology came from agriculture sector, what we call a dry leaf technology. It is used for watering plants. When the leaf is dry, the sprinkler comes on and waters the plant. When it's wet, it stops it. So when it rains, you don't need to waste water watering the plants anymore. So the fundamental technology came from and is commercialized. Of course, that's for the rich and the famous who drive luxury cars will have this technology. But somebody has to pay money to manufacture these things, and this is where the commercialization comes in. Yeah? So the person who actually develops it may not enjoy all the benefit, but then they keep on developing. So we shouldn't see commercialization as immediate, the researcher making money and that's it, forgetting about research and it's been, but it has to go on. So we have to see the wider application. Everything we enjoy today came from research in some labs done by somebody in the planet. So you have to look at the larger perspective. As I said earlier, fundamental research is important, very important, because that's the basis of any technology being developed, which may have some use for mankind. It has to be in some form or other use. Some may be vital use, some may be luxury items, but it's all coming from fundamental research. Now, just quickly to respond to the earlier gentleman who asked about brain gain. Now, I think we have more serious problem, I think, than brain gain. I think we got to stop the brain drain first. And I'm often very unpopular when I say this. We have to stop that. I think that's more serious issue of brain drain from this country. We have to stop that before we even think about gaining it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just add on what my colleague mentioned earlier just now. To address the issue of social invention. Actually, in Malaysia or anywhere in the world, there are various types of inventions. You have technical inventions, there's social inventions. The law is such that patent law only allows the protection of technical invention, something that is relevant to a particular technology, something relevant to a process or product that is in the particular field of technology. So In this respect, all the patent law are being molded in such a way that it is used for the protection of technical invention.